Thanks, Luigi, for your session. Now that data management has been explained in details, this session is about the application to be connected to the data, and especially the topic around OKE, also known as Oracle Container Engine for Kubernetes, and OLCNE, Oracle Linux Cloud Native Environment. I'm Sebastian Grotto, EMEA Infrastructure Technology Director, and I'm very pleased to get Greg Verstraeten and Ewan Slater with me today. Greg, you're product manager for OKE. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you, Sebastian.
Ewan, you're one of our app dev domain experts focused on cloud native. How are you today?
I'm great, thanks, Sebastian. As yourself?
Great. Last year, I already talked about cloud native applications, and it has set the landmark on this topic. Before I will let Greg and Ewan exchange about what Oracle is providing for our customers to modernize their business applications, let's start with a short 101 on container. So what is cloud native? How cloud native applications are unique? Well, cloud native applications and services differ from their legacy counterparts because they have been specifically designed for the cloud from day one. They can be deployed and fixed faster, have a much more fluid architecture, and can be placed and moved through different environments easily. That's the case for Zoom, for instance, when they joined Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, it has been done in one day. So what is about traditional environment, virtualized, and containers? Traditional deployments, remember 40 years ago, it was an hardware, an operating system, and one tier, two tier, three tier application on top. Then we wanted to get more from the resource, and we went for virtualized deployment. Basically hardware, operating system, hypervisor, and then into VMs, an operating system, and the application with binaries. Last year, I told you, hypervisor are becoming irrelevant. And that's here where we are. Container deployment, hardware, operating system, container engine, and then container for the application, the binary, and as dependencies. When you are talking about application development technologies, last year I told you, right? Innovative, early adopters, containers. Then in 2018, there's been kind of early adopters to early minority. Then we got containers in late majority last year. Basically right now in 2021, containers microservices are in late majority, and we start talking about serverless, service mesh, and also on the left, data mesh. In a very interesting way, data mesh and microservices are very related in the concept. Now, on top of being able to help you on your legacy or as-is application, Oracle has a lot to offer with cloud native. Automation is key for success. So Greg, can you tell us about OKE and the primary focus and usage from our customers?
Of course. Let's see. To run applications in the cloud, you can certainly take them and run them on VMs. However, you have to manage the deployment, scaling, and availability. It is okay to do for a couple of applications, but for hundreds of applications or microservices, this is a burden. The cloud-native way to run applications in the cloud is with an orchestration platform, and Kubernetes is the most popular. So what is Kubernetes? Kubernetes is an open source system for automating deployment, scaling, and management of containerized applications. It groups containers that make up an application into logical units for easy management and discovery. Kubernetes can operate both in the cloud and on-prem environments, including hybrid clouds. Now, how do you benefit from Kubernetes in Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, or OCI? Well, with OKE. OKE allows you to run manage Kubernetes clusters in OCI. The service official name is Oracle Container Engine for Kubernetes. OKE's mission is to provide you with a standard Kubernetes experience, simplified operations, security by default, and the integration with the complementary OCI services. So let me go through those 4 points. First, the standard Kubernetes experience. OKE is certified Kubernetes conformant by the Cloud and Cloud Native Compute Foundation, the CNCF. The container runtime and the OCI container registry are also Open Container Initiative compliant. By using Open Standard, Oracle provides an easy workload portability and eliminates vendor lock-in. You can take your application and deployments from OKE and deploy them in other Kubernetes clusters, on-prem or in other clouds. My second point is simplified operations. OKE manages the Kubernetes cluster resources. It automates recurrent administration tasks such as scaling and upgrades. For example, your application might face a spike in activity during the holiday season. When demand increases, OKE automatically scales up the number of nodes in your cluster. Likewise, when demand decreases, the number of nodes is scaled down to reduce your operating costs. By default, every Kubernetes cluster created through OKE is highly available. Resources are spread across different availability domain and fault domain. When an OKE worker node is accidentally removed, OKE automatically spins up an identical node, so your application continues to run normally. My third point is the security by default. OCI is engineered from the ground up with security as a key guiding principle. For example, OCI provides robust identity and access management, network isolation, data encryption, and much more. By integrating Kubernetes and OCI security controls, OKE ensures that you can run your application securely on the Oracle Cloud. For example, you can isolate your cluster from internet and make your clusters private. You can easily track abnormal activities using audit events. You can enforce that container images are scanned and authorized before they are deployed in a cluster. And finally, on security, OKE provides compliance with various industry standards, certifications such as ISO, SOC, GDPR, etc. My last point is the integration with complementary OCI services. Alone, Kubernetes is not enough to run applications in production. You need peripheral services to govern, observe, and secure your clusters effectively and run your applications. OKE provides clusters on OCI Compute that supports virtual machines and bare metal servers using Intel, AMD, and ARM processors, and GPU for machine learning. OCI Gen 2 infrastructure provides Kubernetes clusters with a predictable and consistent performance. OKE integrates with complementary OCI services, such as a container registry to store your container images, load balancers to distribute the traffic to your applications, block storage to store the data of your stateful applications, monitoring and logging, and a CI/CD DevOps service to automate the deployment of your applications, and many more services. OKE is available globally in every OCI regions and in the dedicated region Cloud at Customer. Now, Yuan, how do you take an application from OKE and run it on-prem?
Thanks, Greg. It's really interesting to see how we can deploy cloud-native applications on OCI using OKE, and you've really articulated the value of the OKE tooling. But I think it's also worth bearing in mind that cloud native doesn't mandate public cloud, and it certainly doesn't mandate a single public cloud. You know, you could be looking at an environment that's a private cloud or hybrid cloud or even a multi-cloud environment. And the common factor, to touch on a point Seb mentioned before, the thing that makes something cloud native is that the software is aware of and depends on and uses the capabilities of the cloud platform. So for example, if you have an app that is made up of a set of microservices and each of those is deployed as a container, the kind of scenario you were just describing, we've seen how we can deploy that onto OKE. But say you're working in a regulated industry, you need to be able to deploy that on premises. You're going to want to have an equivalent kind of environment for your cloud native applications. So if you've got that scenario, you don't want to move away from standard Kubernetes. You don't want to start working with something that's going to give you vendor lock-in. You don't want to start building your own Kubernetes clusters, and you're probably going to want it to be supported. So in business terms, what you're looking for is flexibility in terms of your environments, portability between those environments, and you want to retain your development agility. You don't want to be starting to have to use different development tools and workflows for these different environments. And that's why, to address these challenges, we have Oracle Linux Cloud Native Environment, or OLCNE. And what this is, it's a set or curated suite of open source software products. All of the tools in it are CNCF certified, so you're not looking at risking any vendor lock-in. But what it does do, similar to OKE, is it simplifies setting up your cloud native environment. It's backed by Oracle, so you can get support on it as part of an Oracle Linux subscription. And you can deploy it anywhere. It could be on premises, it could be in a hybrid cloud environment, it could be in a multi-cloud environment. Now, what's actually in the box? Well, there's an open source management layer, we've got an API server, agent, and a command line interface. And then, like OKE, for the orchestration and management of containers, we use Kubernetes. So OLCNA makes it easy to provision your clusters, and it will take care of things like high availability and backup. And again, it makes it easy to scale clusters out and scale clusters in according to demand. It supports CRIO as the container runtime interface, and you can run runc or kata container runtimes. In terms of package manager, it uses Helm and also includes Istio as the service mesh. What a service mesh does, it's kind of plumbing. It enables and controls service-to-service communication, and it abstracts that away from being a developer concern. So it takes care of things like service discovery, load balancing, security, and telemetry. And then that telemetry data we can take into Prometheus, which is a widely used monitoring tool that we include as part of OLCNA. And if you want to visualize that data and build dashboards upon it, we also include Grafana. So taken together, what all this really does is it gives you a way of easily creating an environment to run your cloud native applications, whether that's a private cloud, a hybrid cloud, or a multi-cloud environment. And because you're not rolling your own, you get faster time to value. Because it's open source, you're not running the risk of vendor lock-in. And if you want the peace of mind of enterprise class support, you can have that from Oracle from a subscription. So OLCNE delivers that flexibility, portability, and agility that I talked about before.
So, if I get it right, customer could think about moving their workloads and application from OKE to OLCNE and vice versa. Some use cases maybe, and some advice for our customers.
You're absolutely right. And we see cases, for example, in banking where people will want to develop, test their containers, and they do that in the public cloud. And then say for a regulatory reason, they might want to run that on premises. And the truth is that for most of our customers, enterprises particularly, a hybrid and multi-cloud world is the reality they have to work with. And that might be a somewhat inelegant truth, but it is what it is. And Oracle provides them the means to work effectively in the real world so they can easily develop and deploy the applications the business needs when and where it makes most sense.
Okay. Oracle is developing anyway something hybrid because cloud, whatever private or public, is bringing the best flexibility to develop more simple and more efficient application for customer experience. And as you said both, right? Without any lock-in. Quite the opposite on our competition, by the way. Also, and as it has been announced early August, I would like to mention the Verezano Enterprise Container Platform. And here you can see that CERN manages existing WebLogic server application deployed on Kubernetes. And this platform is available for both OKE and OLCNE. Thanks a lot, both of you, for this chat, and I hope that we can meet again in a few weeks/months with some exciting news, by the way. Thanks for attending. I would encourage you to get in touch with your Oracle rep to discuss in details about this topic. Stay safe and have a good day all. Cheers.
Thank you.